Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today Sony announced the Alpha 1. $6,500 US, 50 megapixels, 30 frames per second, 120 calculations per second by the autofocus system, zero blackout through its 240 frame per second refresh rate, brand new EVF, 8K video in 30-minute clips. It isn't unlimited, unfortunately, and we don't know about overheating. Here are some examples Sony has shared of its 30 frame per second prowess, smoking the A9 Mark II. This is essentially the marriage of the A9 and A7R lineup. The top of the pyramid, we've got a new Exmor RS sensor, Bion's XR processor, 50 megapixels with 15 stops of dynamic range. This camera is really the master of all. No more trying to figure out which body is right for a specific job for professionals on the video or still side, because this can do pretty much everything. At least that's what Sony is pitching. And you can see it here again, just going over those calculations per second and the 30 frame per second capability. No blackout on this when shooting, which is another amazing feat. They've eliminated distortion for the most part, at least that's what they're claiming. The flash sync with the electronic shutter, also another thing you'd expect for a $6,500 body. This is the most expensive full-frame mirrorless camera ever made. The silent shutter, not new, but that distortion that I was talking about being eliminated, that is a big improvement. Rolling shutter supposedly improved quite a bit. It now can auto-detect lighting frequency. That'll eliminate that banding you just saw, something I've been waiting for. 92% coverage with the 759 points of phase detection on that sensor. Real-time tracking supposedly has been greatly improved. We now have real-time eye autofocus for birds, also better detection for animals if their heads are upside down. Supposedly it will detect eye autofocus and lock. Also improvements for human eye autofocus, so that's another nice thing, but you kind of expect that, right? This is just an evolving real-time tracking system. We've also got 8K at 30p, that is downsampled, again 30-minute cap on the recording time, 4K recording up to 120p with accurate tracking. Cinetone has been thrown in here, something you traditionally only find on Sony's cinema cameras, but not shocking because this does it all. 10-bit 422 chroma subsampling, 10-bit HDR. This camera really combines everything, the A7R, again A9, and A7S into one body, and the price tag reflects it. For some of you, it's going to be shock. For others, you're going to think that this is palatable, even if we're approaching Leica. Active mode image stabilization, the optical image stabilization, is able to detect whether or not the camera is handheld, and based on this footage, looks amazing. I've been waiting for this to trickle down, and it finally is. Furthermore, the digital hot shoe is there. I've got that shotgun mic. I plan on using it, testing it out with this camera when it comes in for review. No flip out screen, but I expect that has to do with the heat dissipation for the 8K video recording. The EVF, 9.44 million dots, again with that 240 frame per second refresh rate, 5-axis in-body stabilization. Not new. We do have raw capture capability, 16-bit of course, over the HDMI terminal. The Type-C is 10 gigabit USB 3.2. We also have a 1 gigabit Ethernet for tethering, which is great for pros. New Wi-Fi upgrade here, not Wi-Fi 6, but more antennas. Hopefully that's fantastic. FTP connectivity, another nice touch. And then, of course, the Xperia Pro was debuted today as well. 5G 4K streaming over that phone, used as a field monitor. Dual compact flash express type A slots for redundancy. Still capable, of course, of using UHS 1 and 2 SD cards, but you'll want to use those type A cards for full leverage of this tool's capability overall. Mechanical shutter to actually protect the sensor. Love that. Been waiting for it. Of course, a new vertical grip for this camera. Improved dust and moisture resistance with the weather sealing, something I feel like we should expect. New menu system, slightly tweaked button layout, a new dial on the upper left. We also now have lossless compressed raw JPEGs in a light quality. We'll see what that's all about. But overall, this camera does exactly what I had hoped, which was eventually bring together the best of everything Sony has to offer. Now, we traditionally saw that in the A7R lineup. That was the hybrid to beat in Sony's lineup. But now that Sony no longer is undercutting the competition in terms of pricing and over-delivering on specs, the market is really theirs. There's no argument there. When it comes to mirrorless cameras, Sony is the force to beat. And in being that, they can set the market in terms of specifications and pricing. And that's exactly what the A1 represents, in my opinion. So the Alpha 1 delivers for professionals the ability to no longer try to figure out which body is right for a certain job. Instead, there's one body that can pretty much handle any job, and that's how I look at this A1. So rather than trying to figure out if you need the A9 Mark II or the A7R4, you have the camera, or the A7S III, you have the camera that can do pretty much everything that those cameras can do. It's more expensive, but you're paying for that flexibility and that capability that otherwise would relegate you to having multiple bodies and, of course, having to choose between them and make some sort of sacrifice that the A1 renders obsolete. Very exciting. The Xperia Pro, a nice little culmination of Sony's smartphone business coming together with the Alpha line, but of course the A1 stole the show today, and that's because it has set a new bar for the entire industry. So I'm very excited, can't wait to review this, get my hands on it, and of course share it with all of you. Very expensive, but even though we're approaching Leica pricing, the performance we're approaching has never been seen, even by Canon, for those of you that will make that argument, or Fuji down the road. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button. And as usual, please feel free to subscribe, and please stay safe. Later.